Attention on this channel. We've got an important message. All observations and opinions shared here are for educational purposes only. This content is intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. Be advised that any individuals mentioned are not intended to suggest involvement in any crime.
Case by case, got the fire.
Ha!
Yo, you wanna talk about true crime? We start with the data flows. Digital footprints meet criminal defense, that's how this story goes. This channel's all about online evidence, the stuff they overlook. From live stream chats to deleted posts, it's all in the true crime book. My goal is to provide insight for the attorney in the darkest hour, to find the proof that can make a case or break a criminal's power. So whether you're a lawyer or a PI, we're diving deep in the mess, exposing misconduct and hidden truths to get to the very best leads. We break it down case by case, on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes, we on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise, shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto? We're here for the victims, the ones who were left behind. We're here for the families, giving them peace of mind. We follow the paper trail, the digital footprints and the timelines, connecting the dots, we're reading between the lines. We don't just talk theory, we show you how it works in practice. We're here to help you stay ahead of the curve, to get a new analysis. You think you're in charge, but we're here to find what matters most. We're giving a voice to the voiceless, like a digital ghost. Digital ghost, digital ghost. We break it down case by case, on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes, we on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise, shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto? From digital clues, the mystery, you wanna know the answers? We're dedicated to the chase, from the first look at the scene to the final resting place. We're here to find the answers, to give the victims their due. A true crime channel with a heart and a purpose too. We're here to build up, to expose the truth, and to shine a light on the darkest of deeds with all our might. We're here for the truth, we're here for the facts, and that's it. We don't chase the trends, we just chase the truth and never quit. We let the past speak for itself, we let the facts lay the ground. We're just here to be a voice, a tribute that is sound. Yeah, it's all for the truth. All for the truth.
Ha! Come on, come on. Let's go.
Their thoughts for you, yeah. Won't kiss the ring. Yeah. Ha. Come on. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Case by Case. This is episode 25 of the Delphi Vault. And welcome in, everybody. Hit that like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff that you normally do. My name's Amy. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are following the Delphi case and you're new to the case, you can go back and start the series that we've been covering. This is 25 episodes in. So we have a playlist that you can go back and start at the beginning. Otherwise, we are continuing. I think this is the third episode regarding the in-depth cell phone data that we have available to us, which is key, available to us. We don't have the full phone extraction, which we probably couldn't even understand if we did have it, but we do have Cecil's report, Bunner's report, FBI cast, Blotcher report, and the AT&T ping data regarding Libby's cell phone the night of the girls missing and into the early morning hours, February 14th, 2017. For those of you who follow the channel, we have at the very top of the comment section, I have provided all of the links for our discussion page, website, the merch store, and our X news feed. So yeah, the channel's growing and we are excited. So today we're going to get into the third part of the cell phone data. And I've got with me Quester and Great Lakes Fungi. Let me pull them on the screen really fast here. Hey guys.
Hi,
Hi,
Amy. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
working on getting my microphone connected.
How's everybody doing in chat? Looks like we've got, oh wow. Ready to rock, Candy says. What's the W for 97 King Wolf? What's that for? Gemini's here. Streets of Bakersfield. Nellie Lane. Welcome in, everybody. You guys know I like to get right to it. And even when we get right to it, we are on here for hours. So we have a lot to go through. And Quester, where should we start first? Because we left off last week. We were discussing the BG video, the coordinates, the triangulation of when the video started, where the GPS took the phone, and we were also talking about the GPS data, taking it for what it was worth versus how the state wanted to manipulate the scenario so we didn't believe our lying eyes.
Yeah, we were talking about that video, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall exactly where we got to on there. Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
So I think that we were at the end of the bridge. And for those of you guys who have been following along on the vault in especially the last couple of episodes, we've gotten into a lot of detail. Quester has taken on the task of, it's dynamic, literally what he's done. He's taken all of the reports and compiled the information into one PDF. And I know that I made available last week, or maybe it was the week before, I can't remember, the PDF, but it's been updated since we've gotten the Cecil deposition. So you guys might want to disregard that PDF because we have some updates since the deposition has come out. But the PDF that we have is a compilation of all of the reports. So we see GPS locations in one report that we don't see in another. We see things that, for example, the phone was dead, then the phone was not dead. There's the complication is that we have people who we are told are experts giving us information that we can very easily disprove. And I don't know why that is. And we shouldn't have to be in that position when it comes to a serious case like this. So, for example, what the phone was doing and what images were found on the phone, images that were reported to be found on the phone that have no longer made their way into this court case, coming from experts. And then you've got one, Christopher Cecil is he's the most incompetent expert who, I'm not going to look at anybody else's report because I want to find new stuff. Well, how do you know if it's new stuff if you don't know what's in the other investigators' reports? If you haven't thoroughly went over with a fine-tooth comb what they have already found, how do you know what you're looking at is new? That makes no sense. Where files were found is a problem. And the time in between when files were supposed to have originated, for example, the video shot at 2:13, the down the hill video, we know that there is, according to the state, a very minimal window of movement of the phone after up to 2:32. Since when has it taken longer than that for a video that you take on your phone to render itself to your memory on your phone? Why is this video still lodged in a WAL file waiting to be written and extracted down into the DB file? It's like in a holding cell. And so you can say, well, the phone wasn't connected. Something was happening where they were. The phone wasn't able to get a signal. The phone stopped working correctly. Okay, but then we have the 4:33 a.m. conundrum where, you have this massive amount of data transfer going on, all of the files being updated, the apps being updated, yet this video never makes its way into the DB file. And then we also have some files from February 12th in the WAL file. So we're going to try to make the best sense of it as we can. We're not experts. We're just trying to dissect the information as it's been presented to us. Great Lakes, fungi. I have snow on the ground. I actually went to the store today and I had my little snow cap on because it was freezing out there today.
Okay, so how cold is freezing for you guys?
Cold enough to have snow on the
obviously freezing is freezing, but what do you
Cold
consider to be cold, Amy?
I would say it's in the mid 40s, 50s. It's cold.
Are you?
No, it's cold. Stop it. You live up by the
10 degrees. Yes, it got to 10 degrees last night here. It's been like 20
cold
all day.
I don't know what it is outside right now. All I
was
know
in
is
short sleeves outside for the stream. 20 degrees.
It's fire weather. So when I get off this, I'm making dinner and we're lighting a fire and we're watching Monday Night Football. So it's cold enough for that. Whatever that is. Okay, so let's get to it, guys. And you don't have y'all love the the engagement that I'm seeing on Twitter. We're all here for the same reasons, and you guys have to remember that these things that we're going over are not only open to subjective opinion on our part, but it's also open to subjective opinions on the experts' parts. Because clearly in this case, you can see how two different forensic phone experts have different opinions and different reports and different things that they are showing us. It's all open to interpretation, and we can't, I'm sorry, you just can't, you can't not believe your lying eyes. I mean, there are a lot of things in here where you're going, okay, so you want me to believe this didn't happen? You want me to believe that the phone wasn't moving? You want me to believe the phone survived? I mean, every single one of us has a cell phone. You know damn well your phone is not surviving for 16 hours at 4%. Not with everybody in mom's creation trying to contact you. Phone ringing, backlight, on light, voicemail, text messages, all of that going on in the background, and your phone survives? Hell no. Hey, shaboogies, girl, where you been? So I'm going to pull up. We are on, in this updated version of the PDF. I'm on page 16. Does that sound about right to you, Quester? That starts us right around where the BG video happened.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, so I'm going to, I know you guys can see it on your screen, but I'm going to pull it up in a regular PDF. So I'm not going to be able to see chat just because I have like, my eyes are really bad. So we are at.
People have questions. Do you want me to do what we did last time?
Mm-hmm.
Put them in the.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, just kind of compile them, and then we'll do like a window of answering. That way we can get through at least
Betcha.
one page of this. So we are at 14/13/55, which is right around the time that the BG video was taken. And I'm starting in the green on the PDF on the screen for those of you who are watching on a television, or you can zoom in on your phone. Starting in the green down here, it says 14/13/55, time adjusted by Cecil's report, location, and then they put in the GPS. Precision is 30 meters south end of the Monon High Bridge. Northbound 30 meters in range of 100 feet is still nowhere near the distance between first and second location for this video. Okay, so what that means is this. Let me pull back out. So we have, I know that we've listened to Cecil talk about when the video started, it triangulated at the Delphi High School. And one thing that I want to point out, let me get to it, is the fact that that's not it. That's the wrong one. Sorry. It's for later. Is the fact that the phone had, so starting at 151 and some change on the trail, we have the phone already accounting for GPS locations on the trail. Right here. We have 151.22. We have 151 and 50. Then we also have 205.08. And then after that, we have 205.10. So that's 4 GPS locations that the phone has provided us, whether it be via Snapchat location GPS, or whether it be the phone location services being on, what have you. The phone has already registered locations on the trail. Then we have 2 photos on the bridge, one at 2:05 and 10 seconds, and then reportedly one at 2:07 and I believe 20 seconds. So why, when the video was shot 6 minutes later at the end of the bridge, does it seem to be completely lost on its location and has to triangulate far away? So we were told that it triangulated over at the Delphi High School, then it bounced right back. But there's 2 different in the phone data based on Cecil's report, which is, hang on a second, I will pull it up. Okay.
While you're pulling it up, worth noting that in the trial, Cecil changed his idea to Memorial Park, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't even make up his mind.
Yep. So right here are the 2 different coordinates that we have in Cecil's report, both at 2:13:51. There's 2 different locations specified in his report as to where the video originated from. So when you go to the map, that puts us right here. Let me share my screen. Sorry. We are now, so the first one, the 2/13/51 data shows that the down the hill video located here first, which is the Delphi High School. And I included the two locations here, the Cecil's two locations that are listed in his report. The second location is down here on Prince William Road. So there's two different locations that Cecil has listed for where the video originated from before it came back to the Monon High Bridge. After the phone had already triangulated to the GPS locations of the girls on the trail and on the bridge. And I guess our question is why? Why would the phone not have known where it was at that time? And I know Great Lakes, you have done some research on the Prince William Road. Is there anything significant that you can add to the conversation about Prince William Road?
Well, if we look, it's right by Riley Park, which is kind of interesting because that's where they were on the 12th. So I don't know, like if we're thinking that maybe there's another phone that's logged into the account and it's making it go, it's making the location go over there, then someone's clearly over there. So I guess my theory was perhaps going to Riley Park, which we know was a planned outing. I mean, they were trying to get other friends to also meet them there, just like they did the bridge the next day. If it is a planned outing, was perhaps it a case of someone saying, let's meet here, but not showing up in order to make sure this wasn't like a Chris Hansen type shit, Like,
I mean, it could be, or sometimes
be nothing.
It could be, yeah, it could mean nothing. But we do have the two locations that
it's interesting,
right? And it doesn't really align with the phone doing what it was doing up until that point, even though the markers before we start the down the hill video, there is some discrepancy in time. There's discrepancy in meters and where they're located. And I guess we can just all throw our hands up and say, well, none of that matters because that means you have to fall in line with the girls were on the bridge. And if you're in that category, that works for you. But the further that we get into this phone data, you start to see some things that don't support that. Then you see things that do. And the question is with all of these eyes and these multiple experts looking at this phone data, why are we still left in a category of we just don't know?
Can I add two more things?
Uh-huh.
Can I add two more things? The first thing is, Quester pointed out to me that the building that's kind of nearby, it does have a CPS office, which is kind of which is interesting. Possibly like the large building, you see, like right there, it's a health services building. So I mean, that might be normal, whatever.
Yeah, that's the.
But yeah. The other thing, someone said that he of mine who lived near those two places, who else was logged into Libby's account. We're looking into that. We're looking into who was around there. If anyone has any tips or in that direction, send them on over. There's a lot of houses there. But I think it would be someone who, if it is a case of what I said, that maybe they were meeting up Raleigh Park the day before to make sure it wasn't a sting or whatever, then wouldn't it have to be someone who worked there or maybe lived there who could have kind of just gone on foot and been really casual about it, just walk around the park, maybe with their dog or something like that?
Could have been. Hey, Andy. Hey, Keith. Hey, All Eyes. So going back to the PDF, but I wanted to show you that because those two locations are in the phone data in Cecil's report, that the phone located at two different places. It wasn't just at the Delphi High School. It was also on Prince Williams Road. And then at trial, he also stated that it bounced in the Memorial Park area, which at the time of the video, obviously, that place hadn't been designated as Memorial Park for Abby and Libby. It was just a big open, empty space. So let me pull this back in. Okay. So we went over that. So Cecil in trial, looking at your report when the video, now this is, I believe this is straight from trial. Looking at your report when the video is initialized and starts, where is the GPS location? A, the GPS location goes out near the Delphi High School. He later changed the first location to Memorial Park. Neither are in fact where the phone data said. So when the video starts, the GPS with the metadata, the latitude and longitude that's embedded into it immediately goes out to where right around near the Delphi High School within 4 seconds. It comes back and it's on the trail and it has a 30-meter horizontal degree of accuracy within a circle. So it brings it back to the trail. So when it's recording a video, it initially goes out, likely capturing what's the lower data to try to pinpoint where it is on the trail. We're out in the middle of the woods, so it's utilizing the cell towers to kind of triangulate, determine where it is. But as the video's recording, it's like it's actually utilizing the satellites to provide a more accurate location of where the video really is. And utilizing the satellites causes it to use a little more power. So what's happening is when the camera is first being used, it's using something, it's low accuracy. So it's not wanting to use a whole lot of battery power. That is what Apple encourages its applications developers to do, to try to not use a whole lot of battery power, because we want our customers to be able to enjoy the product. Now, this is an excerpt. There is no Wi-Fi except Ron Logan's or Weber's, both too far away, unless WAN was used, WWAN. And I'll let Cecil, before we go on, I'm going to let you explain what WAN is. It's a expansion. Go ahead, Quester.
Right, WAN, WWAN. It's a method used for extending your Wi-Fi. Normal extenders will give you about 1,000 feet, but if you use WWAN, it can go really a long way, miles even. It's usually used by businesses. But the only way that you would have got Wi-Fi out there is by using WWAN. And incidentally, we knew that Libby had access to it.
It's expensive
okay?
too. I want to install.
Oh, yeah. It's not a cheap thing.
And someone on Lake Superior, where we used to walk, had one because their cabin was really, really far back from the shore. But they had one set up, and I always would just stick there and message my spouse.
Well, and if you think about it in a business sense, Becky Patty owned a business that required her or her employees to travel all over. And she might have been the one paying for the WAN, however you want to say it, the WWANN or WWAN, for the expansion of the cell phone information in order to run her business. So would she have...
It more extends the Wi-Fi.
Right. So would she have extended that to the kids' phones as well? Or this, again, brings us back to what phone was Libby using? Was she using her own phone, or was she using one of Becky's phones that Becky utilized for her appraisal business? You know, just that day alone, she had sent Derek out to take photographs and things in Frankfurt for an appraisal. And, you know, if they're out in the middle of nowhere utilizing a phone for, you know, I'm just, there's no reason for a teenage girl to have access to that application or that kind of expansion on her phone, unless it was something that was an umbrella plan paid for by Becky over all of the phones in the household. And again, that brings you back to which phone was Libby using? So I'm going to pull back up. Okay, so question to Cecil. So when the video starts, this is longitude and latitude that is produced. Answer: longitude, latitude, and the elevation. Well, do we see that in the report, the elevation? I don't remember. Question: does it give you a range of accuracy when the video first starts? No. And then within 4 seconds, the long and latitude changes? Yes. And does it give you a range of accuracy when it changes? Yes. Well, how do you know the girls didn't just go from here to here in 4 seconds? I would think that would kind of be impossible. Well, isn't that interesting that he thinks that the girls could go from location A to location B in 4 seconds, but yet we see the same thing happening earlier on the trail from 151 to 20508. They're in the same location at 151 and 205 in 8 seconds. And then 2 seconds later, they're taking a photograph on the bridge at 205 in 10 seconds. Why isn't that impossible? The fact that Cecil admitted in court that after the jury raised a question, he sneaked off and Googled for an answer shows he was not an expert. He was just an internet troller, but that is no excuse. False evidence prevailed, which is tantamount to a miscarriage of justice. At 2:14 and 34 seconds, the image, which is a 009.5 MOV recording, ended. So it was a 43-second video. Law enforcement said it is now that Abby and Libby come under control of the BG. At 2:14 and 36 seconds, there is an audio output route start time. To what and who initiated it? We don't know. And at 2:14 and 36 seconds, within the same second, the screen goes off. At 2:14 and 41 seconds, there was an unsuccessful attempt to unlock Liberty's phone using Touch ID. Would Liberty really be trying to unlock while going down the hill? From Cecil's 2024 deposition, question: page 8 has biometric data. You noticed 3 fingerprints that were enabled in Touch ID. Is that correct? Yes. Question: 1 belonged to Abby? Yes. How do you know that? Answer: it said Abby. Right. Answer: no, I do not. Question: what is your understanding of what those are? Answer: I'm going to presume it means right finger, left finger, which finger that is, I don't know. It could be their toe. I don't know. I'm presuming that that's what it is. Question. Okay. And do you have any idea if both of those belonged to Libby? Question. Presumably at least one does. Answer. It could. Question. But we don't really know, right? Answer. Could be that she's logging in with the password. I don't know. At 2:15 and 12 seconds, the screen is on. At 2:15 and 24 seconds, the screen is on. At 2:15 and 28 seconds, the screen goes off. And at 2:16, 24 seconds, the screen comes back on. At 2:16, 28, the screen is off. 2:18, 28, the screen is on. 2:18 and 28 seconds, the screen goes off. And at 2:18, 32 seconds, the screen is back on. 2:18, 32 seconds, the screen is off. This manic off and on could be due to energetic movement. At 2:18 and 49 seconds, movement stopped. It takes 47 steps to get down to the private drive from where the video was taken. Apple Health data. Now, just to insert here, the 47 steps to get down the private drive is my experience. It took me 47 steps to get down the hill. From the top of the hill where the girls went down, it took me 47 steps to reach the private drive. Not crossing the private drive or going down the second hill, only 47 steps, which is almost 100 feet from the top of the hill down.
Hey, Amy, you have 2 lives going right now. Should please just let us know that.
Well, I think the problem is that we were streaming live on Twitter. Give me a second. I'll just leave it be until this is over. One was supposed to be live on Twitter. Huh?
I'm just thanking Shabugs. I was just thanking her.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know why it's showing up twice. This whole new Mars thing that StreamYard is offering, I decided to utilize it today. So after today, I'll figure out the kinks. Hey, Julie. Yeah, come in here. Tell everybody to come in here. So I don't know how it's showing over there, but it's supposed to be 2 live streams. So I've yet to work out the new Mars thing that StreamYard is offering. I'm trying it out. So if it ends up working, it works. If not, I won't use it again. Sorry, Shaboogies. So the 47 steps was me physically walking from the top of the hill, from at the end of the south end of the bridge, down to the private drive. And I tried to go down as fast as I could without falling. So it took me 47 steps. With my height and my step range, it's approximately between 95 to 100 feet from the top to the bottom. Apple Health data from 2:18:49 to 2:25:22, movement stops, total of 414 meters. Since 2:08, there was 548 steps taken, less 47 to go down the hill, equals 367 steps to account for what the state said RA had stopped due to Brad Weber's van. At 2:19:32, battery is at 24%. So it lost only 4% in 44 minutes. At 4:19:32, the screen is on. At 4:19:36, the screen is off. At 4:19:36, the screen is on. And at 4:19:36, the screen goes off and the battery has now dropped to 23%. So we have a screen on, a screen off, a screen on, and a screen off, and that drained the battery by 2% or 1%. I'm sorry. At 4:20 and 4 seconds, we have another audio output route in time. So if you remember going back up here to the shade of blue, right after the BG video ended, there was an audio output route that started. That lasted almost 5 minutes. And it ended at 4:20:04. No outputting for 5 minutes while locked and hidden, and while Abby and Libby were under duress. At 4:22 and 40 seconds, the battery is now at 21%. And at 2:24 and 52 seconds, the battery has now dropped to 16%. So in that short of time, the battery dropped quite a bit. And then at 14:24:52, we have another screen on. And at 14:25:04, we have another screen off. Battery only dropped 4% in 44 minutes, but now dropped from 8% in 5 minutes. Audio at most took 3%. So what took 5%? These are all of the anomalies that we can't really answer. Like, what is going on with this phone? Why do we have all of these odd battery changes, screen on, screen off, failed attempts to unlock the phone, audio input, audio output? Either one of you guys have an opinion?
Dude, I have no clue. Question, you might be muted.
Something
Or he's just
drained the
speechless.
battery. Something drained the battery. That requires some event. Simple as that. And there are no events listed.
Yeah, exactly, Shaboogies. Cool, pack it up, everyone go home. Yeah, I mean, there's so many anomalies in this phone data that you have to question everything. And if you know this case inside and out, like some of us do, you know that you cannot trust the state to tell the truth about anything. And let me just reiterate, in Cecil's in all of these reports, for the most part, we are only seeing out of the phone extractions what they want us to see. And they can't even keep their story straight with the information that they made available to us. Imagine what they're keeping hidden. That's the big question. That is why it's going to be paramount that we have a phone expert at some point in time come in and take all of these extractions and evaluate them. That really, if we had an independent forensic expert come in and examine this phone data, I would take whatever answer they gave if they weren't aligned with the state or even the defense at this point, because I just feel like there's information here in this phone data that as an inexperienced defense attorney, you would question. And you listen to the defense team in these depositions just going, oh, well, thank you. You've been so forthcoming. And I'm scratching my head going, what? No, he wasn't. And when you started to really hone in on the oddities that are going on with this phone, especially at 4:33 a.m., Christopher Cecil starts to get very defensive. And all of a sudden, he knows exactly what he's talking about. But prior to that, I think he said 37 times, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know this case. I haven't been following this case. I have no information about this case other than what I've seen on the news. But all of a sudden, when he starts to get pinned down on what's going on with the phone at 4:33 a.m., all of a sudden he's got an attitude. So back to it. So Apple Health data at 2:25. That's a very key time. No distance or steps, then movement started. Presumably, this is when law enforcement says they crossed the creek. At 2:25 and 22 seconds, movement started. 2:25:22 to 2:32:39. There's 7 minutes, 50.54 meters distance, which is 566 steps in total. Apple Health data said none. At 2:26:48, the battery is now at 10%. And then at 2:31:04, the battery is at 8%. So now the battery is increasingly decreasing. They've crossed the creek, supposedly. There's no water damage to the phone. I'm not even going to speculate if the girls were supposed to be nude or not, and how they crossed the creek with a phone in their hand and clothing and Converse shoes. And we have 3 different, possibly 4 different crime scene investigators make no notation about wet clothes. And at the most, all we get on the stand is, well, they appear to be maybe damp. And I know Great Lakes, you have a whole opinion about the creek and the water levels and the current and what it would be like for not just a man of Rick Allen's size, but Libby, and then again, Abby crossing that creek.
It don't make no sense. How deep was the creek when you were there?
So I would say, so when Julie and I went there by ourselves, and we went down the 505 and we went down towards the water. On the south side of the bridge, I would say the water was maybe mid calf. If you stepped out into it 2 or 3 steps, but if you walked under the bridge towards the bend, going in the direction of the crime scene, which would have been much further on down, the water appeared to get a lot deeper. Now, this was just 2 weeks ago, so we hadn't had snow. I don't know what the rainfall level had been like before we got there, but I know that based on the helicopter footage from the morning of the search, the searchers in the water seem to be at least waist deep in the area of the crime scene. So I know when we did your whole presentation on the creek and the water levels that day, it seemed that Abby would have had a really hard time crossing with the current in some areas. We know that there's that sandbar in the middle, in between where the girls would have gone down the hill and the area in which they would have crossed. And
the water has to go somewhere, so it has to get, if there's a sandbar there, it has to get deeper, and consequently it will get faster. The current will get more powerful right there. Yep, exactly. So it's kind of like a trade-off. It is interesting.
And the one thing that with them crossing the creek, the one thing that you can clearly point out is, regardless of, I'm telling you, you guys can take my word for it or you cannot, being there in person, I was absolutely shocked at how close the crime scene was to the creek's edge. And I'm assuming back in 2017 on that particular February 14th, 2017, the water level was much higher. So the embankment to get up to the crime scene area would have seemed less steep because the water level had rised. But I don't believe when we were there just 2 weeks ago that the water was anywhere near that height. And still, there was not a 2-story incline or a two elevation change incline from the creek to get up that hill. It was not very steep at all. I mean, you could have sat on your butt on the creek's edge and dangled your feet off the edge, put your hands to the right of you, and turned around and popped down into the creek. It was that short of a distance. And regardless,
would it have been? Oh, never mind. Sorry. You go.
Regardless of that, hypothetically, if the girls had been made to undress and cross in the water nude, okay, by the time they got across and made their way out of the water, up that embankment, climbing up on to the creek's edge, they would have been muddy regardless. Their knees, their legs, their abdomen, climbing up over that embankment, they would have been muddy. And there was really no indication of that. They actually seemed to be, you know, at least Abby anyway, seemed to be, according to those who were in the courtroom, her physical being seemed to be pristine, like she was clean.
We know if their hair was wet.
I know that some people, I know Julie did describe that Libby's hair appeared to be wet. And, you know, that's up for speculation. I mean, it's up for opinion. You know, if you assume that they were,
Honestly, could have been
damp. I mean, if you're laying outside on a damp, wet ground, especially so if you're standing with your back to the creek at the crime scene and you're looking at the crime scene, beyond the crime scene is a massive hill that goes up. So moisture, water, snow, rain, all of that is going to make its way down. And I think that's why some people describe it as like a bowl. Where the girls were really wasn't in like an in cave of area of land, but the ground would have been wet. And then being out there overnight, the moisture in the air, all of that could have led to their clothes being damp. I think that there's a big for me, my opinion only. There's a big distinguishing factor between damp clothes and soaking wet clothes. And I cannot, even with the girls being nude, I don't know how they would have crossed the creek with their clothes in their hands and kept their clothes dry.
Well, I've looked into this quite a bit with the blue jeans specifically because cotton's basically that's what you know, jeans are made of, cotton the long run. But cotton is basically the most water absorbing material that you'll find in clothes. I mean, there's some pretty interesting bits about history and how militaries have outfitted, you know, their troops in cotton, and it's not worked out well in some cases. But basically, the thing is with the blue jeans, so the areas that were under the body would have still been really wet. There might have even been leaves sticking to the jeans at that point, because like if it got to the point where it was, you know, even kind of close to freezing, those leaves might stick. But then you also got to think about how the like the crotch of the jeans, like that's still going to be really, really damp because that's an area where it has a seam. Anywhere where there's a seam specifically, that's a big one. But underneath, it's going to still be completely soaking wet because there's no way where for any of that water to have really gone.
Right. I mean, I would have thought immediately the crime scene techs would have noticed that the clothes were soaked. I mean, I would have, that's what I would.
This just made a really good point. Said Bridge Guy would have had wet jeans as well, and chafed thighs from walking in them, and
Mhm.
sloshy shoes. That's no kidding on the shoes part. I can concur on that. My husband has a really hard time whenever his socks get wet. He starts freaking out. I think he's a pussy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother conundrum. And we're going to get to that. So let's get back to the PDF. I'm going to keep reading. So at 2:30, movement stops. After a total of 5 meters since 2:25, presumably when law enforcement said they reached the crime scene. There were 2 flights of stairs, or approximately 20 feet, which equals 66 steps. But there is no 20 feet rise here. There's not. There's not. The north bank is in rear of, I can't read that, 6 feet. Then it drops to the crime scene. The only 20 feet rises area is a gorge to the west, up to the cemetery. That is true. That is so true. Excuse me. I would concur that the hill that we climbed when we were leaving the crime scene, when Julie took us there, the hill behind the crime scene, I would absolutely concur that that would be 2 flights. It's a good steep hill. And another thing I wanted to throw out there just for you guys to visualize the route that we took. So when you look at the crime scene on the Google Earth map, so when we pulled into the cemetery, so say we're pulling into the cemetery off of 300 North, and we are now driving straight to the back of the cemetery. We parked on the far right-hand corner of the cemetery. We got out of the car and we ventured out down to the crime scene from that right-hand side of the back corner of the cemetery. That trek, we followed Julie down, but we had to go down to an angle towards the left. I really can't say there was a path. We just made our way down going to the left. Then once we got down into the flatland area by the creek, we had to continue even further going to the left. Well, when we left the crime scene, we came straight up from where the crime scene was. We went straight up, which put us literally on the opposite side of the back of the cemetery, if that makes sense. So we came up on the left-hand side of the back left corner of the cemetery, and there was barbed wire not only across the back of the cemetery, but there was barbed wire off the corner of the cemetery, basically dividing Ron Logan's property and Mears. So we had to climb through the barbed wire behind the cemetery barbed wire fence, walk along the back of the cemetery to the other right-hand corner, if that makes sense, just to kind of give you guys a perspective. But parking in the back right-hand corner of the cemetery to get to the crime scene is really the best way to go because it's the most concealed, if anybody wants to go there. Anywho, okay. So back to, we are now at 4:28 and 48 seconds. We've already did that. Okay. 2:30, movement stops after a total of 5 meters since 2:25, presumably when law enforcement say they reached the crime scene. 2 flights of stairs were approximately 20 feet, which is 66 steps, but there is no 20 feet rise here. The north bank is in rear of 6 feet. Then it drops in the crime scene. The only 20 feet rise are up is a gorge to the west up to the cemetery and up to Ron Logan's home. Apple Health data can error because it uses combined data from the altimeter and accelerometer. So lots of short elevation gains losses might be seen as ascent, but they are few of those here either. Sorry. There are no screen offs between 224 and 231, and no events listed. Yet battery dropped from 16% to 8% in 7 minutes. Big drops are from 222 and 40 seconds to 224 and 52 seconds. There was a 5% drop. And then at 224 and 52 and 228.48, there's another 6% drop. So there should be
Amy?
Yeah.
Do you know where there isn't a significant drop?
Where?
There isn't a significant drop from 2 to about 219, which we know that they have taken pictures. We know that they are connected to data. We know that they took a 43-second video. There is 0% drop from 2 to 219. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Just thought I'd try the quester. Hey, Amy.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Yeah, I thought I'd try his thing. Okay.
Quester, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, she's smug.
I love you guys. Okay.
Great.
So yeah, now the battery is depleting and the phone's not doing anything. They stop let me see. Oh, I forgot that. So from 2:32 and 39 seconds until 3 o'clock and 1 second, movement stopped for 18 minutes, no distance, no steps. In Cecil's 2019 report, he claims the phone likely died now, but in his 2024 deposition, so did the phone ever die? And he answers, I don't believe it did. From 3 o'clock and 11 seconds to 3:06 and 11 seconds in 6 minutes, 0.771 meters distance equals 1 step. They stop some way from the creek, but in clear sight of it, the drive and the Monon High Bridge for 24 minutes. This is after the state claims RA panicked and drove Abby and Libby through the creek to the crime scene. Note that this is in no way over the creek. There is no further data from the Apple Health data, and everything hereafter are estimates in ranges from 3 to 5,400 yards. So within 3 miles to, was that 5,000 or 5,000 meters, which is worthless. Collaboration of every feet, millimeter, minute on Apple Health data, correlating it with all the available data for those times and etc., adhering to the route the state claimed. Raises on what happened at Mears Lot and about where Abby and Libby went on the way to there. It does not put Abby and Libby over the creek at 3:06. It does not identify any two-story climbing opportunity at the time of the climb. It does not put Abby and Libby at the south end of the bridge at 2:13. And it does not put Abby and Libby in position necessary for the 2:08 photograph. It does not put Abby and Libby in position necessary for the 2:05 photo. Puts Abby and Libby well north of the Monon High Bridge while others were there, but nobody saw them there. Does that make sense? Does that paragraph make sense based off the GPS data, the meters? To those of you in the chat, do you understand what's being said there? We're not saying that that's factual. We're saying based on the information that's been provided, by Cecil and Bunner where the phone was located on the trail and when. When you put all of that in line with where they want you to believe the girls were and when, it doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. Now, we're not saying that the GPS couldn't be inaccurate. We're not saying that by the time a photo was taken and then uploaded to Snapchat that there wasn't a delay. But the two, I mean, stop and think about it. The two main areas of what was supposed to have transpired that involved Rick Allen happened from the time the girls arrived at Mears until the time that they took that video. Everything from within that bookend is discombobulated. From the time to the location to the GPS to the distance, it doesn't add up. So we can either continue to press the issue, or we can just put our hands in the air and say, well, we'll let them have that one. We don't need precise information here. Just trust me, bro. We're gonna give you what we want you to have, and you're gonna just go with it. And it doesn't add up for me. So go back. So really quick before, I was going to go back to that, but let me go back to here. So mind you guys, let me remove it. Before the girls even got to the bridge, at 12:39:54 p.m., there's an unknown device that moves in to the area of the crime scene within a proximity of 60 to 100 yards. And that came from the cast report. We are now in the realm of, on the PDF that we're reading through, we are now in the realm of 3:02 p.m. We have another unknown, number two, another unknown device. Now, I'm not saying that unknown device 1 and unknown device 2 aren't the same, but at 3:02, there is another unknown device within 60 to 100 yards from the crime scene, and that's from the cast report. And then again at 3:27. Now, I don't know, based off the cast report, what they consider an unknown device, but we know that they know Libby's device, and we know that they know Rick Allen's device. He gave them the EIME number off of his phone when he met with Doolin. So unidentified would mean someone that they have not put a name to the ownership of that phone, as the way that I see it. So while the girls are being supposedly trucked across the creek, up 2 stories into the crime scene area, naked, or possibly made to get naked there's another person unidentified within 60 to 100 yards of the crime scene. Is this the BG? Was the BG? I mean, we don't know.
One hand has to wonder how they don't know who the phone belonged to.
Yeah, I mean, would that mean it had to be a burner, or it had to be like the ghost gun version of a fucking phone? I don't know.
I mean,
What they used to call a drug dealer's phone.
Yeah, the burner phone or like the throwaway ones.
Yeah.
Have you seen Breaking Bad, Quester?
So, who dis says
I remember.
who dis says two of the phones were listed to Libby's name in the geofence, and I have good reason to trust who dis's information. And who dis, if you could put in the chat kind of a reference to how you know that.
Rian, I make fun of my cat all the time for not having thumbs. I say, hey, if you want a piece of this cheeseburger, just give me a thumbs up. She never does, so she gives a cheeseburger.
In other cases, they have to anonymize them to get a warrant, or it would be overbroad. If there's additional probable cause to mask a phone, they can send another warrant. Well, I don't think that's so. Who dis says, I heard defense talking about it when I was meeting with them and talking with them. So when I say who dis has a little bit of credibility beyond just speculation, that's what I mean. But they didn't need a warrant to identify Cheyenne's phone. They didn't need a warrant to identify Sarah Carball's phone. There's a lot of nefarious things. Oh, hey, there's a lot of nefarious things going on. And the fact that we have unidentified, what this boils down to is because we know that this unknown device was not Rick Allen's. We know it wasn't Rick Allen's. And
so what are we doing here?
Yeah, Jerry Holman knows it wasn't Rick Allen's. He all but said so in his deposition. He knew where Rick Allen was. Rick Allen was at home. This last unknown device at 5:49. Furthermore, the map shows that the other two phones and the person carrying these phones were in and around the crime scene between 12:39 and 5:49 p.m. on February 13th. And they reportedly moved out of the crime scene area when the next audio input was put into Libby's device. When the phone went dark, those two phones moved out of the crime scene area. Well, Majestic Bishop, they could have. Then they also ran up against, the defense or the jury hating the defense for putting a distraught, heartbroken grandmother through turmoil. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know why certain questions weren't asked. And they could have been questioned. Exactly, Great Lakes Fungi. Look at you in the chat. Yeah, we have victim 1 and victim 2 phones. Nothing.
And they never got that answered when they inquired about that. They never answered that. What is this about? They said nothing.
Yep. Okay, so let me pull this down, go back. So we are now we are now at 3:15:27. Cell site or timing advance estimate, source of radius data, Google geolocation data, radius estimate, approximately 60 to 100 yards of the crime scene. In the FBI 2019 CAST report, This is not the found phone or RAs. This unknown device located in the geolocation data at 3:15:27 is not the phone found under Abby or Rick Allen's phone. FBI A device at cemetery around the time of the murders, we believe connects to one of 5 or 6 potential people Murphy mentioned. Who do you think one of those 5 people could be? You've got Brad Holder, you've got Patrick Westfall, you've got Johnny Messer, you got Elvis Fields, and then you've got Rod Abrams.
Did you mention Ron Logan? Oh wait, no, we already have Ron Logan.
Yeah, well, and Murphy wasn't investigating Ron Logan. Murphy was investigating those. Who's the other guy? There's Rod Abrams, and who's the other guy? Ned
Smith.
Ned Smith.
What a
Yep.
What a general name right there. It's kind of a bitch to find him.
So this was at 3:15:27. One of those people's phones, or one of those people that I just named, were connected to a device that was around the cemetery at the time of the murders. So at 3:32, cell site or timing advanced estimate, source of radius data, phone call to Liberty's phone from Derek German while walking the trail. This radius estimate is between 3 to 5,400 yards. He's probably at Mears. Derek German at 3:33 and 3:34, cell site timing advanced estimate, source of radius data, phone call from Derek German to Tara German while walking the trail. Again, same distance, 3 feet to 5,400 yards, probably at Mears. Then Derek German at 3:35 texted his mother. And
Daniel Pearson.
Oh, Daniel Pearson. Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah, DP, not DG. I got to zoom in a little bit more. Daniel Pearson texted his mother at 3:35.
After he got done bobbing for apples. Wait, no, he wasn't the one bobbing.
No, he wasn't the one bobbing, but no, he was probably, well, we don't know what he was doing because yeah, we just don't know because he was never put on the stand.
Listen, I just absolutely just love the bobbing for apples euphemism. I just have to say it every single time it comes up.
Okay, in Cecil's 2024 deposition, question: when it's at 4%. Now, guys, think about this. This phone is at 4% at 3:35 and 11 seconds. It's using battery. That's the question. Is it also connected or communicating with the tower if it's receiving texts and emails or Facebook messages? Answer: it's got to be connected to something. Does it? Really? Is that like not an open-ended answer? Like read between the lines? It's got to be connected to something? Or is that a you are stupid comment? Yeah, duh. It's got to be connected to something. That's the way that I took it. It's got to be connected to something. If that's what you're asking, question, right? Answer: from what I can tell, there's data still going to it. Question: does that data that's going to it happen at that moment in time, or could it go there later? Answer: I don't know. I don't know. Because I know at some point the phone does get connected back to the network. It's clear. So I don't know if that data is aggregated somewhere until it finally connects. I want to make sure I'm clear that the phone was still receiving information to it. It's pulling it from the WAL file. Answer, this is February 13th. Answer, no. Question, there were log entries for every other day, right? The 12th, the 11th, the 10th, and I think that it is like the 14th. And the defense and state are talking about a battery level at 3:35 and 11 seconds. That isn't in Cecil's report. So we know the released report is tampered with. And again, Cecil says this data is coming from the WAL file, but he said that the file on the 13th was totally missing or empty. Quester, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? And I'm going to, I need to go grab a bottle of water really quick while you elaborate.
Yeah, don't really think there's much to elaborate on there. We're getting different stories, essentially. Cecil is saying that the WOW for the 13th of February was empty, didn't exist, nothing there. Yet when you look at Cecil's report, you'll find that it refers to the WOW file for the 13th several times. Indeed, the video of 213 is supposed to have come from that very file, which of course is a question in itself. How come it's still in there? But anyway, exactly how do you believe anything Cecil says if you can't even get this straight? The bloke is an absolute clown. What do you think, Fungi?
Yeah,
Hello.
I honestly have the phone stuff. I like always just ask my husband because he knows way more about tech. He's kind of like you, but for me, it just doesn't make sense. Nothing
None of
about
it makes sense.
Yeah, and for me, it's you said so. I know that you said. Tell them how many extractions there were, because Amy and I, you told Amy and I before the stream, and we were both like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I can't find it at the moment, but one of them slipped up and said, I think it was Cecil, said there were 17 extractions altogether. And that's pretty amazing. Still there?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, apparently there's a new filing in the case. I think it's for the supplemental exhibits or whatever. I'm just what I meant is I put down your question. I have questions that people have asked in the chat. So if you have a question, just put it, and then oh, sorry.
You're breaking up. Hey, Cryptex.
Okay, yeah, no. I put the questions for them to answer later. Sorry.
Were the pings still reaching the phone? Well, if the phone isn't connected to the network, then the pings can't reach the phone. Does that answer your question?
Okay, I'm catching up. Oh, Majestic Bishop. Okay. Not understanding you, Great Lakes. Put down my question. Let me see.
No, it's okay. I just answered that. There was an echo while I was talking, so I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Wolf Spirit Johnson. Yeah, Cecil was a moron. Absolutely.
I did pose the question to Quester. Who do you think did more damage to the case? Or Bunner or Cecil? And, before the stream. I don't know. But he's got an opinion on that. I don't know if he wants to share that yet, but
well, yeah, I'm quite happy to share it.
Go ahead.
In my view, Bonner said his little piece and then ran for the hills. He didn't want to get involved after that. And Cecil was then dropped in deep doo-doo.
Every time he says stuff like that, doo-doo.
It looked like he played it for laughs after that.
See, that's how I feel whenever he says like aluminum or like. Wait, Butter died? I thought it was the other guy who. I thought there was a different guy who died. So maybe Butter didn't just run off. Maybe he actually died. I might have gotten that mixed up.
I don't know. Oh.
He left him in deep doo-doo though. That's oh yeah, Blotcher or whatever it was is the other guy who died. Yeah, so Bunner did leave him in deep doo-doo.
Yeah, he dipped out. He said, "It's all yours, dude."
Hey, Quester, can you say doo-doo head? Just do me
doo-doo head.
Okay.
I'm done.
Oh no! If Bunner was a true forensic expert in this case and botched it, yes, he would have absolutely died in a fire for sure. They would have seen to it. Good Lord! Oh my gosh, my eyes are watering now.
I think Bunner actually picked the best way out.
Yeah, he said, "I'm done here."
I've had enough.
What's his excuse? Do we even know what his? Do we know what his excuse was?
He had a headache.
He had a headache. Well, we don't. I mean, we don't know what his excuse was. We know that all we know for sure is that in the middle of a trial of a double homicide, all you have to do is go out in the hallway and do a Google search and you get promoted because Christopher Cecil was just promoted right along with all of the other fucktards in this case.
Let's have a moment to clap for Chris Cecil. Congratulations, man. I would have never thought you would have gotten the promotion, but here we are.
He doesn't even know what he was promoted to, I'm sure. Okay, so Cecil's 24th deposition. Okay, we're back to the battery. And but he said that the whole file from the 13th was totally missing or empty. Somebody's car alarm.
Someone's car alarm.
Hold
Amy,
on.
are you breaking into cars?
No, but it sounds like it might be in my driveway. Hold on.
Oh shit.
Oh no. It might have been Mike's. He just got home from work, so he.
Why is he breaking into cars?
He might have just hit his button on his key fob. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we're back at the 349, the cell site or timing advanced estimate, source of data radius. Uploads photos on her phone taken at the trail while at Mears. Radius estimate from 3 to 5,400 yards of the Monon High Bridge. This is, I believe, this is Cheyenne, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. So we got Cheyenne who's uploading photos at 3:49. At 3:57, the cell site or timing advanced estimate source of data call to Liberty's phone from Derek German while in a car at Mears. Radius estimate approximately 3 to 5,400 yards. That 5,400 yards seems, from Mears, seems quite far from the crime scene.
You're talking miles.
54 football fields.
Like that's a massive radius. Like, why would the phone be that? Why would then the cell range expand that far? Is that like the maximum? Would that be the maximum range? Like the phone the phone is completely offline.
Well, essentially, because one tower on its own Can't do it.
So Derek German's phone at 3:58. Right. This is right at the same time that Sarah Carbaugh is seeing her BG guy walking muddy down 300 North. It wasn't until almost 2 years later, I think it was, that he became muddy and bloody. But at about 2 minutes till 4, this is when Sarah Carbaugh sees her guy walking down 300 North, right out in the open, approaching the Mears lot. That we have Derek German. He makes a call from Derek German's phone to Becky Patty while in the car at Mears. And that, again, the radius is 3 to 5,400 yards. At 3:59:34, an unanswered incoming call from Becky Patty. Cecil's list says it was from.
This is tequila.
Okay, thank you. Cecil's list says it was from it was from this phone number that says best aunt ever. Now, here's my question about this right here, because in one of the photographs that we see of Libby, and I can't remember, and maybe somebody in chat remembers, or maybe one of you guys remember, but in Libby's, the phone that was found, it appeared that Tara German was blocked in this particular phone that was found with Libby. So if Tara German is blocked, how is a phone call coming from the best aunt ever, which would also be Tara German? Do 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 do.
Probably the same way that
Do do.
Kelvin Klein was able to talk to Libby when she was blocked by him.
Well, she was blocked by him, but we don't have his phone data to know when he unblocked her. But we know after the girls, she was blocked through Snapchat. Okay, Nellie, thank you.
That makes more sense. But okay. Why?
Well, listen.
Because she was being annoying, he said.
Yes, but we're talking about Tara. Why was Tara blocked? I'm going to tell you why. I went through this with my girls when they were growing up because I was a nosy mom and I wanted to know what they were doing and who they were communicating with. And, your first child, you are very, very protective. And then I had a son and then I had a daughter. So I had 3 kids and they were all 3 to 4 years apart each. By the time you get to the 3rd child, you learn to pick and choose your battles. So when my oldest was in high school, I was very nosy. And it caused a lot of strain on our relationship because she wanted her privacy. And I'm like, no, if I find out that I'm blocked on social media from your accounts, you're going to lose your phone. We went down that road 1,000 times. And by the time that my youngest started high school, I learned that, you have to, in order to spy on your own kids, you have to do it quietly. You can't let them know that you're spying. So that way I never got blocked. So looking at Libby and her behavior patterns and the apps that she was accessing online and the things that she was doing, if Tara was an active family member on Snapchat, Libby would have probably blocked her. So Tara couldn't see what she was doing. So Libby didn't have to answer to Tara or possibly to Becky. That's why I think that she would be blocked. Because I don't
notice something interesting when I was looking at Facebook's is a lot of the people that were kind of around her age and or like in her high school class, they had like 2 or 3 Facebook accounts.
They
And
do.
I think that that's kind of indicative of that same behavior that you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't see it being, no, I don't see it being begrudgingly, especially if Tara's in her phone contacts as best aunt ever.
True.
You know, why would she put her in there as best aunt ever and she's blocking her on Snapchat because Libby's probably saying and doing things or posting things that she doesn't want an adult to see. But I knew that Tara was blocked at one point. That's why I brought it up. I'm like, wait a minute, how is she making a phone call? But that makes sense. If it was on Snapchat, that makes total sense. So Aunt Becca, I have researched that as far as Snapchat. So my understanding is in 2017, which I had, until this case, I didn't realize that there were distinct milestones in the way that the location sharing worked with Snapchat. So in 2017, when you utilize Snapchat, it was compiling your GPS data in your phone. From what I can tell, from what's available out there based on what Snapchat makes available to the public, it wasn't available as a sharing feature. You couldn't share your GPS coordinate with your Snapchat friends. It wasn't until, I believe, June when that changed, and that's when they introduced Snapchat Maps. That's when the map, like when you were following someone on Snapchat and they shared their location, you could actually see their little like image or avatar on the map. So to get the GPS from the phone in February of 2017 required some sort of information from Snapchat to be shared with ISP. It wasn't a shareable feature in February of 2017. That's my understanding. Just like my understanding is that a iPhone 6S, you're not supposed to be able to record from a lock screen. And we see how that's turned into a whole, you've got the creator of the device stating publicly that the security feature on the phone disables the audio and the microphone when the phone is locked. Yet we have people who are reportedly showing you an iPhone 6 online, claiming that they can swipe left from the home screen while the phone is locked, and they can take a whole ass video. That puts us into a situation where we're at a 50-50 balance here of who do we believe? Do we believe our lying eyes, or do we believe Apple? At the end of the day, I think that it's going to be a mashup of the two, depending on the actual phone itself and what updates or renditions the phone has gone through, as far as other apps being added, other camera installations being added. This is what Apple refers to as phone manipulation. If how the phone's been manipulated, and with where we are now with the industry with cell phones, the iPhone 6 is kind of like a dinosaur phone at this point. And there's no safe way to answer that question. But we do know this, and please hear me, because I haven't found anything that contradicts this. If you have an iPhone 6S that's operating under an iOS 10.2, the swipe down feature is an easy access feature. It's not a incognito feature that when you swipe down from the top corner, anything that you do while the screen is locked is oblivious to the phone data. You still are required well, I'm not going to say required. You still should see that the camera was accessed, that a video was taken, and that the phone was locked after the fact. And we see none of that. There's no elements of anything in regards to those events happening in the phone data. Critical thinker, you're absolutely right. You cannot record on a snap. You cannot record for Snapchat from a lock screen. And there's no indication that this video was recorded on Snapchat, the down the hill video. We believe that if it was recorded at this time from that phone, that it would have been recorded from the camera, and should have been in the camera roll, but we're going to get there. So let me get back to the PDF. So we just got the incoming call from the best aunt ever. And those were 3 consecutive phone calls, 3 unanswered incoming FaceTime calls. FaceTime calls, not just telephone calls. So again, I would feel like at 4%, this battery is straining. Just, if you believe what Cecil said, this phone is fighting for its life. It wants to perform for you. And here we are at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's fighting off all of this incoming these phone calls, these text messages, these SMS messages. We're now at 16:01 and 15 seconds to 16:06 and 18 seconds, 2 unanswered incoming FaceTime calls from the best aunt ever. At 6:06:46, we have 2 messages from Becky Patty that says, "You need to call me now." Cell site or timing advance estimate, source of data radius is from Becky Patty's radius estimate, 3 to 5,400 yards. Again, a wide range of distance. Then we have at 16:08. So the phone call comes in at 16:06 and 46 seconds. I'm sorry, not a phone call, an SMS message. So 16:06 and 46 seconds. And then at 16:08 and 36 seconds, we have a screen on event. And then at 16:08, 56 seconds, we have an unanswered call coming in from Becky Patty. So we have basically piggybacking an SMS and a phone call between 6:06:46 and 6:08:56. That's a major strain on a phone that's now reportedly gone through a creek and under a soaking wet, unfortunately, lost life of Abby. That's a major strain at 16:08. And then at 16:12:56, we have screen on. And then at 16:13:01, and then at 16:13:06, and at 16:13:25, 3 more unanswered incoming FaceTime video calls from the best aunt ever. And then at 16:13:25, we have an unanswered incoming FaceTime call from Sis. Now, mind you, this is only at 4:13:25 in the afternoon, and we are already at 4% battery life left. At 16:13:25, we have another unanswered incoming FaceTime call from the best aunt ever. 4:13:55. Sorry, I keep bouncing back from military time. I'm reading what's on the screen, but 16:13:55 is 4:13 in the afternoon. So it's a quarter after 4. Is that right? No. 16, it's 4. Yeah. 15 after 4. 413:55, and another unanswered incoming call from the best aunt ever. Then we have a screen off, but we didn't have a screen on. So 413:55, we have an unanswered incoming telephone call from the best aunt ever. Is that a typo? Because we have 413:55, and then we go over here, we have 409:08, screen off. All right, okay, I see. It says Cecil's list says 414:08 is the screen off event. Okay. But we didn't have a screen on event. And then
tells us there's missing data.
There's a screen on event at 4:12:56.
So, but would a screen on event last for 2 minutes?
If there's other activity, keeping it on, yeah.
Well, not even if the phone is in survival mode. Didn't Cecil say that the backlight would stop turning on?
Well, the light can come on with all these incoming signals from best mate ever and all this sort of stuff. You could flick on to say you've got mail or whatever.
So at 4:17, we have the cell site advanced estimate source of radius call to Liberty's phone by Becky Patty. Call name number 3. The call is named number 3 in the Bunner report, unknown, listed in the Cecil report. I wonder why that is. Again, the approximate radius estimate is 3 to 5,400 yards. Cecil's list does not have this one. At 4:17 and 13 seconds to 4:17 and 54 seconds, we have 2 more unanswered incoming FaceTime calls from this phone number, and it's listed from a Peyton Lank. And she arrived at Mears just after 4 p.m. Tara German at 4:19. The source of radius was a phone call to Tara German's phone while waiting in the car at Mears lot. The radius was 3 to 5,400 yards. Liberty's phone again at 4:22:46. Another SMS RX'd from, this is an incoming text from Gramps, which I'm assuming is Brad German. He says, "Where are you at?" Then we have a screen on event. 16:25 and 16 seconds, another unanswered FaceTime call from Sis. Cecil lists this phone call. There's a screen off event. At 16:29:39, another unanswered incoming call from Sis. And at 4:30-ish, cell site or timing advance estimate, source of data radius, phone call to Liberty's phone from Becky Patty when Becky Patty arrives at the trails. Again, this is from the approximate radius estimate is from 3 to 5,400 yards. Becky Patty at 4:30, call or timing advance estimate, source of radius is from Becky Patty's phone. This is her attempting to call AT&T while she's on the trails, reportedly asking AT&T to begin pinging the phone.
Thank you to Michelle for 20 memberships.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Michelle. Michelle is awesome. I actually have a couple to give out too.
Seriously? Oh, apparently, so Kara Weineke posted that the cranks have the things that Jody filed, and I think we will be getting those exhibits soon. Hopefully they won't be completely redacted.
Oh, I'm not holding my breath. I know All Eyes is probably all over that. All Eyes will get us straight. She'll have everything uploaded. Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, I might have a link for you then.
And guys, I know this is tedious, all of this reading, but it's profound for you guys to understand the activity that was going on with this phone. And remember, we are already at 4% with all this activity going on with the phone. Now, I don't know about you, but my phone would have already keeled over and died on me and said, bitch, you better find a charger or you're going to be out of luck, because I'm not doing it. I mean, once my phone gets down in the red, at any moment, my phone will just keel over. So let me keep going, because we're about to get into the thing. Let me keep going. Huh?
I just want to say that I have posted the Twitter link to the new exhibits, so because they were uploaded. So, but everyone, keep listening to Amy, please.
You know how
Hey,
bad
we'll go over those some other time. We'll just gotta keep doing this.
Well, we're all gonna have to keep. We're gonna have to go through them with a fine-tooth comb and figure out. So I just to piggyback on Michelle, I just gifted 5 memberships. And
copycat.
Yeah, copycat. I'm gonna copycat on Michelle now. I just gifted 5 more memberships, guys. So for all of you lucky people, it's random who they go to. So
I see you, Andy.
Okay, let me get back to this, because we're about to get into the good stuff, the real good stuff. So we are now at we're at 4:47 and 33 seconds. We have more SMS messages coming in, and okay, sorry, let me back up. No, yeah, 4:47, we have a screen off event. 4:47:33, we have another SMS message that comes in, and this is on February 13th. It's in Bunner's report, but not in Cecil's report. Then at 4:47:33, we have another another text message that comes in from Grandpa. Answer me before I call the police to help search. God love him. At 5 o'clock-ish, we have phone calls to Liberty's phone from Mike Patty while on the trails. At 5:23:07, unanswered incoming FaceTime call from Tara German. And then at 5:25:48, we have a audio file left to the voicemail from a phone number that's unknown, and the duration is 26 seconds, and the content is not disclosed. So again, keep in mind the battery is still at 4%. And per the CAD report, at 5:28:26, law enforcement is now involved. And that's not listed in any expert report or the Knowledge C database. So we're going to keep going through. 5:33, we have an email from Facebook, which is unread. At 5:33:47, we have an incoming call. We have a screen off and screen on event from at 5:35:52. We have another unanswered call from a phone number which belongs to Brad German. At 5:36, we have another voicemail, which is an audio file incoming from an unknown number. It's unanswered. And at 5:36:04, we have a screen off event. And then at 5:44:48, we have a screen on event. At 5:44:50, cell site or timing advance estimate source of radius AT&T Well Street cell tower data. Kelsey German's call to Liberty's phone, not on Cecil not on Cecil's report, same radius, 3 to 5,400 yards. Cecil, since there had been no change in the every 15-minute update, and the last known contact time had not changed since 5:44, Blotcher, according to my evaluation of data provided by AT&T, the last contact event, the cell phone in the tower at Wells Street, was at 5:44:50. There has been no contact with the phone since then. My interpretation of the information indicates that the cell phone is either no longer in the area or 2, no longer in working condition. This conversation seems to have been before the 14th. And Quester, is that the fourth? Was that involved in was that included in the fourth Frank's motion, page 3, paragraph 9 through 11, and the state's response to motion for hearing, page 2?
Sorry, I was looking at the questions. Where were we?
I was talking about them saying that there was no more contact with the phone, and that their interpretation was that it indicates the cell phone is either no longer in the area or no longer in working condition.
Right, that was mentioned in the fourth Frank's motion.
Okay, so this is where it starts to get good, because we have at 5:44 and 23 seconds, Eldridge said that Eldridge is the defense forensic expert who testified. Eldridge said there was an unanswered incoming call milliseconds before the cable was inserted. If so, there should be a record of it, but there is not on any record. Why isn't there? Who called? So this is where the phone presumably goes dark. And this is exactly when, so we have this incoming call reportedly not recorded in Cecil or Bunner's report, but Eldridge identifies it, that it was there right milliseconds before this audio output route is put into Libby's phone at 5:25:24. Something was plugged into the output port. Eldridge said phone lost contact with a tower at data, meaning it was on but wasn't using data in between those times. Cecil said there were...
Amy, you jumped the line.
Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Eldridge said phone lost contact with a tower at 5:45 p.m., but he didn't find evidence it had been turned off. According to the Apple Health data, it continued to log that it was gathering data, meaning if it was on but wasn't using data in between those times. Cecil said there were messages coming through during that time frame. Eldridge said there is no evidence that those messages were delivered in between those times, and that the messages sent to Liberty's phone between 5:44 and 4:33 a.m. weren't delivered, and voicemails left at 5:44 were not delivered until February 17th. Cecil said research is incomplete. It could mean headphones, a speaker, microphone, a Bluetooth device, etc. Eldridge, on November 5th of 2024, said it could have also been an auxiliary cord for a car plugged into the phone. I cannot think of any explanation that doesn't involve humans, and that plugging the phone in would prevent sound from coming out of the device. Jury asked Eldridge, question, would water impact movement? Answer, no, that water would not impact the port. Eldridge's testimony on November 5th of 2024. At 5:45, 25 seconds, unanswered call this is from Becky. 5:45:31. Does that say 6 times? She called 6 times in a row, and the call was put into the background.
Yeah.
At 5:45:33, voicemail from unknown. Transcript created but not disclosed. Why aren't we seeing who these phone calls are from and what they're saying? Then we have Mike Patty. After Mike Patty attempted to call Liberty's phone at 5:46, same radius, 3 to 54 yards, while he's on the trail. Liberty's phone at 5:45 and 44 seconds. This is 5:45 p.m. Screen off. 5:45.
Amy?
Yeah.
One little point I should have said earlier, sorry. Eldridge, November the 5th, 2024 said it could have also been an auxiliary cord for a car plugged into the phone. Yep. Were there many cars around the crime scene?
There were plenty of cars. There were plenty of unidentified cars.
I don't think there were any at the crime scene to plug the phone into, though, was there? So what exactly is Eldridge trying to say there? It could have been an auxiliary cord for a car plugged into the phone.
Well, and I think that goes without saying based on her post-trial interviews where she says, I wasn't asked the right questions.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe that she's hinting, she's still under a gag order. And she's trying to imply that because she had the information to convey at trial, she just didn't have the opportunity to come out and say it because she wasn't asked the right questions. And Chester 2263, what does put in the background mean? To me, that means that, and this is just my uneducated opinion as far as phone data goes, is that there's an incoming call. Let's say, like I do at work all the time. I get phone calls while I'm at work and I can't answer. And I just hit the button on the side of my phone. And it doesn't stop the phone call from coming in. It just stops it from ringing and lets it continue on until it rings, until voicemail picks up. That's my impression of it going into being put into the background. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, it does. No matter what, I believe that requires human interference or a human action to occur for something to be backgrounded like that.
I agree, but how that transpired. I mean, there was enough information for them to put it in the report that it was put into the background, but they don't explain how that happened. And it's almost like it's almost like you get the impression before trial. This is just me reading between the lines that they're being a little loose-lipped with the information that they're making available to the defense team, hoping the defense team would bite. And the defense team didn't. At the very end of Cecil's deposition, when he explains there's exculpatory information in this data that you're entitled to, I can't imagine the amount of lip service he got from Nick McClellan when they left that deposition. I guarantee you Nick was furious. Like, why the fuck would you leave all that on the table?
Why would you even say the word exculpatory?
Right. It was almost like in my opinion, it was almost like Cecil was attempting to throw the defense a lifeline, and they didn't grab on. And that's giving him a little bit of credit, because I feel like otherwise he's a fucking epic fail at his job.
Amy?
Yes.
There is another version of what being backgrounded means. I agree with what you said, but there's another version.
Okay.
And that can be when there is a call that's active, but the app that's handling it is no longer in the foreground.
So basically,
like
you've
the
got
phone app?
You have a phone call coming in and another phone call coming in at the same time. So the one that's already in progress supersedes the one, and the other one is kind of pushed into the background and pushed to voicemail.
Essentially, yeah, because the app that one comes in on isn't in the foreground, so it's got to go into the queue and wait. For instance, say Snapchat was being used and there was a call active on that, and a call came in from Instagram. The Instagram, let me teeth back in. The Instagram call would get backgrounded until Snapchat had finished.
Mm-hmm.
Does that explain it?
Yes, it does. Yes. I mean, and that's what I mean. They kind of they leave us with these cliffhangers in these reports. And, here we are out here, we're the blinds leading the blind. I mean, none of us are phone experts, but there is a way to interpret what's being put down. And it's not that difficult to see that there's information that's been omitted from these reports. Prime example, when we start back at the very beginning, when I make available this PDF that Quester has spent, I can't even imagine how many freaking hours this man has put in to compiling all of this into this PDF. But if you go back to the very beginning of it, where we're on the 12th, and then we've got Abby and Libby spending the night at the Patties, and they're using Snapchat. There's no location information during that time. It appears that Cecil only wanted us to know the locations that they wanted us to know, starting in the driveway of the Patty's house. Because if you remember, when we first started going over all of this phone data, the first thing I said was, wait a minute, is she starting to share her location with someone the second that they're pulling out of the driveway on the way to the trails? Because that's what it appeared to be.
Similar to something that they did in Riley Park the day before.
Yeah.
Which is why my theory.
Cecil did say in his deposition that he was only interested in what was going on between certain times. And the rest he just didn't care about.
Yeah, they only wanted us to know so much. And even then they have a hard time keeping their story straight. Okay, back to this. So we just finished with Eldridge's testimony that the water would not impact the port. We have 6 incoming calls. Now, again, we are now at 5:45:25. We're at 5:45 p.m. The phone is still at 4%. Hasn't dropped, hasn't increased. And we have a good, I would say, a good 15 to 20 events happening on the phone between text messages, FaceTime calls, text messages, and incoming calls. And the battery hasn't wavered. She's still holding up. So then we have Mike Patty. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. We have another incoming call. We have the 6 incoming calls from Becky Patty that were put in the background. And then at what is it, 5:45:33, we have an unknown voicemail. There was a transcript created, but it was not disclosed. Then we have Mike Patty attempted to call Liberty's phone. Same distance radius, 3 to 54 yards, 5,400 yards. So, it just appears that the girls went off the south end of the Monon High Bridge. And within 10 minutes of that, they are completely out of range. No, like the phones, it's completely out of range. At 5:45 and 44 seconds, we have a screen off event. At 5:45:45, the phone disconnects from the internet, ? And or loses signal completely. And the timestamp is logged. That is at 5:45 and 45 seconds. At 5:45 and 45 seconds also, Questor, you're going to have to help me on this one. It says 5 times current state disconnected, pay, load, none, previous state connecting. What does that mean?
Right. Essentially, those two lines that follow, imagine a phone panicking. What's going on? Yeah, it's trying to find somewhere to reconnect. It's going through all sorts of systems, TDS, GSM, the whole lot, looking for something to reconnect to.
How much of a strain do you think that would put on a battery? That's 4%.
With the word a lot.
Yeah.
Fit?
I would agree, a lot. Then at 5:48, we have a cell tower ping that was mentioned in the 4th Franks motion on page 3 and 4, paragraph 13. And the radius for that is 3 to 54 yards.
5,400.
Or, yeah, 5,400, not 54 yards, 5,400 yards.
54 football fields.
Yeah. So then we have at 5:59, right before, so basically at 6 o'clock, we have the 2 unidentified cell phones leave the crime scene vicinity. Law enforcement, furthermore, the map shows that the other 2 phones and the persons carrying those phones were in and around the crime scene from 12:39:54 to 5:49 p.m. on the 13th. So all of this in conjunction with the phone going dark, the phone, in Questor's terms, panicking, trying to find a connection to something. We have 2 unidentified phones that were previously in the crime scene leaving the crime scene. And at 6 p.m. and 54 seconds, we have a audio file voicemail from SIS. In the CAD report, we have a ping at 6:12:47, and we have this coordinates that are the same at 6:12 and at 6:29 at the Wells Tower. They're both the same. And then at 6:33:25, we have 12, it says 12 times unidentified events, timestamp logged, 12:50 and 54 seconds, an unanswered incoming FaceTime video call from Arica. In the CAD report, there's a ping at 7:01 and 34 seconds that was sent to Liberty's phone with a coordinates hitting off the Wells Tower, which this ping incident is not in the expert reports. Then we're going to get into the green. I believe, if I'm right, Quester, all of the green are items that were not listed in the experts' reports, correct?
No, if it's in green, it's to do with locations.
Okay, so I misspoke then, because I for some reason I felt like it meant it wasn't in the report. So 1905-02 to 1905, there are numerous AT&T pings. And to cut to the chase, most of these ping in the same location, which was the last ping from the ping before. Let me look here. And that is from 7:05 to 7:24 and 53 seconds. And I'm just going to highlight all of this. I don't think that you guys can see it.
It goes on further than that.
Let me see here.
Yeah, I think that position goes through to about 9 o'clock, something like that. It's further down anyway.
Yeah. Let me share my screen, because I keep forgetting that I've not shared it. Let me see. Okay, right here, that's all in blue, starting at 7:05 and 2 seconds, all the way down to 1937 and 31. So I'm going to pull up for you guys this is the AT&T report of all of the cell phone pings that were initiated by AT&T at the request of law enforcement. Let me take this off here. And if you look closely, Quester has them outlined. It looks like 1 through 6 of different areas. Now, when they say the phone was pinging all over town, it was. And because multiple pings showed the same location or within the same radius, that does not mean the phone wasn't moving. And we know, based on Eldridge in her post-trial interviews, she very much alluded to the phone moved. And when you go through all of these GPS locations and pings that AT&T did, I'm going to show you where and you guys can do this for yourself. I'm not going to go through line by line and show you. This stuff has taken hours to do. But if you don't have this report and you need it, let me know. I'll share it with you. It's a defendant. It's a QQQ. It's an exhibit. But when you take these geolocations and you put them on a map in Google Earth, I'm going to show you where they go. And wait a minute, let me back up just to be clear. So here, and I can share this with you guys too. So here's all of the geolocations in one map, showing you the latitude and longitude of each location, 1 through 6, where AT&T said the phone was pinging from. And we do have some variances as far as distance and time. You know, pinging from one location to another in a matter of seconds in a distance that couldn't have been traveled in that amount of time. But the one area that is consistent for over 3 hours based on the AT&T report Am I sharing my screen? No. Share screen. Sorry. Is right here. The AT&T position from 7/22/42 to 10/44/49 is literally right here by Patrick Westfall's house.
What's the range?
5
Obviously,
meters.
whole tower, right?
5 meters to 5,400.
Oh.
But that's for 3 hours.
No, these ones range between 2500 and 10,000. So it's quite a wide one.
She could be anywhere in Indiana at that point.
Yeah, but the center points are all in that spot, and it's same within that range. Well,
so yeah, and that's and that leaves it open ended. Like, what are the odds that we have such a wide range, but the coordinates that they list take you right here? And it almost looks like, so Patrick Westfall's house is right here. It's the last house that faces the street. The other house faces Riley Park. So it looks like this is pinging 2 doors down in the backyard, which, I mean, it's literally like right on top of each other. But we have this wide range of where the phone is. But when you have one expert saying the phone lost complete connection, and then we have this AT&T report that says no, the phone was pinging, we were pinging it, and we were getting a variances of locations. That, why? So go ahead, guys, screenshot this, take it upon yourself to do the research. Well, you know what, Brianne, there's no doubt in my mind that the individual that God, I can't even go there because I'm at a complete conundrum about the video. And I'm just going to keep going on the PDF because I can get hung up for hours. So hold on.
Majesta Bishop has good question. Some of these pings are after 5:45 p.m., right? After they say the phone lost connection to the network, ? Or am I misunderstanding?
no, she's not misunderstanding.
Nope, these pings are after that. These pings go all the way through, even when all the way through. They're right there.
So is that
right here on the report.
possible? If the phone's dead? How is that possible?
the phone's not dead. And
Checkmate.
yeah, the phone's not dead. Cecil even admits the phone's not dead. The phone never died, according
Does
to
it ever
Cecil.
die? Oh,
According
never,
to-
ever.
He claims it
No,
never
it's
died.
got a magic battery.
He claims it never died. And even while the phone is got this audio output cord inserted in it, it's still signaling when AT&T is sending a request for the P.
What the fuck?
Would you like me to throw in a spanner?
Yeah.
He said it, guys. He said it.
Yeah, I said spanner. It is possible, if you know what you're doing, to charge a battery by fiddling with a lead, such as an aux lead or whatever. If you fiddle with it and you connect in correctly, you can put a small charge into your phone, and
I don't
the
know about
phone
that.
doesn't. Yeah, the phone doesn't even know you're doing it. It doesn't register it, but you can put some power into the phone. Yeah.
Wouldn't the I thought that the wires like itself, the physically like wouldn't be able to have any type of charge. I mean, granted, it would be keeping it like just stationary, but like I thought that was like physically impossible because the part that goes to like the battery doesn't actually connect straight from the aux port.
Well, my understanding is too that when the phone is in this status, this low data stage, that some sort of a device that would input any kind of charge may not register. And
Correct. It can be done.
It can, yes, it can be done. And
it's risky for the cable itself, though.
And to comment on, there was somebody in the chat who just said something.
Wireless charging?
No, hold on.
You can get a third-party aux cord charger. Yeah, and you can link that into what I'm talking about, and you can actually push a small charge in.
Yeah, can you maybe send me what, like, if you've read something about that? Can you send me that? I want to send it to my husband because he's told me like basically otherwise. And did they have wireless charging at the time with iPhone 6s?
No.
And would that? Yeah. So I think that would have probably. I don't know if that would have shown though. But yeah, no, I would love.
If you're pulling this sneaky one, it wouldn't show on the data logs.
Well, okay, that's what it was. I think it was Majestic Bishop again. She says precisely, this is the precipice for my questions. It's a contradiction of their own claims with regards to the data. Not only that, okay, not only that, but you're dealing with information that is we're not getting forthcoming information in the phone data because Cecil is claiming that it's found in the wall file, which is like a temporary holding cell in the phone. Yet, again, I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning of this live, where when think about the time frame, the girls take the video at 2:13. There's a good 15 minutes of time for that video file to render into the phone. The excuse that we're getting, and I'm going to say it's an excuse because I don't trust them. I don't know what the capabilities are of law enforcement to manipulate the cell phone data as an outcome. I know that the reports, they can put in them whatever they want. And it takes someone who's been educated in how to read the extraction reports to know what they're reading. So we're stuck with what Cecil and Bunner and Blocher and the FBI reports are showing us. But why do we have files from February 12th, the day before, still in a holding file, which is the WAL file, waiting to be written into the DB file on the phone when there was plenty of time to do so. And okay, so the video was cut off. Clearly you're watching it. You see Abby go down the hill. The screen goes black. The only way for that to happen is for Libby to have pressed the side button on the phone, or she hit the end button on the video, which I don't know which one she would have done. But again, we don't have an initiation event of the camera or a video or an end or an unlock and a locking event on the phone. So that video is now sitting in a temporary hold file, which is the WAL. And there was 15 minutes for that video to be rendered and added to the DB file of the phone, which Cecil is telling us that did not happen. So where is he getting the GPS data for this video? Because it's my understanding that a video that's not been rendered, and maybe I'm wrong, Quester, but a video that's not been rendered and it's in a WAL file wouldn't have that information attached to it. Or am I wrong?
It could have some metadata attached to it.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be a full all singing, all dancing, if you know what I mean.
Well, we have two locations from the video in the data. So the video had enough significance to render two different GPS locations, one being at the Delphi High School, one being on Prince William Road. But we don't have enough for it to have been written into the DB file of the actual phone data. Am I right or wrong?
I'll stick my neck out and say yes.
So are we getting...
I'd have to think it through properly.
Okay. And I'm just pulling it off the cuff because I just feel like the video had enough time to render. And it shouldn't have been still in the WAL file. Especially after the 4:33 a.m. events. Oh, Cecil has a good background of education, and his CV is pretty lengthy.
He's been to lots of places and sat in rooms, yeah. No certificates. He sat in the room.
Yeah, he sat in the room. Okay, so I'm going to go back.
Here's kind of my question with the Oxport thing, and who is making this point way better than I was. It says charging requires more voltage and amperage than what an Oxport is set up for. That was kind of my question, but I wasn't very good at phrasing it. Like, would it have physically been able to even? I mean, granted, charging is going up percentage, but this one you just at least want to just hold it. You know, it appears that this is just like holding it at 4%. Would it have enough amperage and voltage to do that? You might be muted. You might be muted, buddy.
Or he's froze.
Right, everyone?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Did you hear her question?
Yeah. For charging, the voltage will be the same. It's got to be, yeah? As the phone. To put a charge in, you've only got to have slightly higher amperage going into the battery to charge. Yeah?
But would the charge have been enough to maintain the phone throughout the late hours of the night and through the 433 event?
Well, it's hard to answer that, so I don't know what charge they were putting into it, but it would only need a small one to keep it ticking over.
Like, I'm just wondering if it was enough to just maintain. And
yeah, and what was the power supply too? That's another great question.
Right, and we don't know
Wow.
where the phone was, and we don't know we don't know, like, and I want to be clear that we're talking. You've got physically the girls that we don't know where they are. That doesn't mean where this phone is pinging is where the girls are. They could be in two completely separate locations. So just because we're seeing on the AT&T pinging this location showing up near Patrick Westfall's house for, these pings are coming in every 15 minutes from AT&T. And for 3 hours, they're religiously showing that area by Patrick Westfall's house. So, but that doesn't mean that the girls were there. We don't even know if the phone was there because of the amount of range that AT&T is giving us. We're just putting the information out there to look at, if you're just reading these reports and you're not doing the work and looking at all of these different, you've got 10 or 15 locations that are all the same. So a lot of people are just assuming, well, it was, it's just pinging back to the same location it was before. But when the location changed, you got to go look and see where it changed to. And that's what we've done. And for 3 hours out of the evening, we're seeing this ping in that same location. Michael Osbrook's in the chat. He says, please explain the ATT Wi-Fi connection with data transfer and text from AT&T at 434 then. At Amigo 360, only place in all the data it happens. We haven't gotten to the 433.
Amy,
yes.
He's aiming that at AMIG 3060. 3060 earlier was saying that the phone definitely died at 5:30. So I think what Michael's doing is saying, well, if that's true, explain this. Which I think is a very fair remark.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was in response to, I wonder why there's no consideration of alternative hypothesis. Well, I think that if you've been involved in this case long enough, you know that there's been 1,000 different alternatives viewed. And what we were told years before Richard Allen was even arrested, compared to what we were told the year before the trial, and then during the trial, and then what Michael Osbrook made available in the motion to correct error to where we're at now, you're going to see that we've been lied to. We've been duped. And everybody involved in the state's case has misled us and admitted they misled us in their depositions months before the trial, and then took the stand at trial and pursued a narrative that Nick McClelland and the prosecutors wanted us to hear. That's a fact. That's why all of us are here. And to continue to undermine the purpose of why we're here is not doing anybody any bit of good. Our goal is to research everything that we've been told and everything that we've been shown, and to point out the discrepancies and to attempt to make it make sense. Because if we don't do that, and nobody makes a stink about the inconsistencies and the deficiencies of this investigation, Rick Allen could possibly sit where he's sitting as an innocent man until the day he dies. Again, Michael Osbrook is correct. By the way, there are no power on events in the data, both before and after the February 4th factory reset. So the story about the power logs getting overwritten does not appear to be correct. Exactly. Again, these reports are piecemealed together from the forensic phone data extraction, what the experts or the state's forensic experts wanted us to see. And even then, there's problems. They had the ability to piecemeal from the extraction and show us what they wanted us to see. And still what they've showed us is not lining up. Amy, yes, we have. Exactly. Michael, this is really complicated, folks. I don't have a coherent story that all the data I've seen fits. Exactly. And there's a lot of things in this that doesn't fit. And we know based on the phone activity throughout the night, first of all, there is absolutely nothing that proves a phone at 4% at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with all of this activity incoming is going to survive for a complete overwrite of the phone at 4:34 a.m. It's not, there's no way. Under a wet, cold, dead body in the middle of the woods. There's nothing that points to that being a real thing other than human interaction. There's no 43, there's no 4:33 a.m. pings. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about pings. We're talking about something completely different that happens at 4:33 a.m. The whole entire phone wakes up and updates. All the apps update. The cache for Instagram is completely rewritten. There are things deleted, things added. We're going to get into that. Okay, moving on. Let me share my screen so you guys can follow where I'm at on this. Okay. So now we've gone through all of the AT&T locations on here. And for more than 3 hours, we have AT&T locating the phone near Patrick Westfall's house. Is that within 2,500 meters? Quester, am I reading that right?
Yes.
This was at 19:24:53. And then at 19:24:10, we have an incoming voicemail from an unknown call. It's unanswered. At 19:25:23, law enforcement attempted to text the cell phone number, which is Liberty's cell, and it went to voicemail. At 19:30, law enforcement in the CAD report states that at 9:30, Liberty sent an sent email sent of Abby Williams. That's not in the expert reports. Okay, Quester, can you explain that? It's in red.
It's an odd one, isn't it? That's word for word. What exactly that means, I'm not sure.
It's showing that from Liberty's email, there was an email sent to Abby Williams.
That's what it's saying. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was in one of the CAD reports you sent to me.
Okay. We're going to have to pull that out. And at 193106, the AT&T location is still near Patrick Westfall's house within 2,500 meters. That is also not in the expert report. The CAD has an incoming AT&T ping with the location that hits at the Wells Tower. At 1936:59, we have an incoming FaceTime video call from M. Sandusky at Ivy Tech EDU. Don't know who that is. At 1937:31, we have an AT&T location again near Patrick Westfall's house within 2,500 meters. That again is not in the experts' reports. That's in the AT&T ping report provided to law enforcement. In the CAD, we have a 1939:37 cell phone number again, attempted to text, and it went to voicemail. We don't know who that is. I guess we could do a backtrack of the phone number here. It looks like it's the same. It looks like it's the same phone. No, wait a minute. It's a 765 number. It came in earlier. It came in again. It came in before at 1925-23. Then we have that same phone number again coming in that went at 1939-37, went to voicemail. Liberty's phone at 1943-49, incoming voicemail from Chris Bridge, presumably Christina Bridge, Elle's maternal grandmother. So she's calling and leaving a voicemail. At 1946-56, there's an audio file of an incoming voicemail from Kinsey. In the CAD, at 1950-30, we have a cell phone number again, same one as before, attempted to text or attempted to call. It rang several times and then went to voicemail. I'm confused on how earlier in the evening, the phone is going straight to voicemail. And now all of a sudden it's ringing and then going to voicemail. Like the behavior of the phone is not adding up.
It's almost like it's on do not disturb.
Let's see, 1951, we have an incoming call from the best aunt ever. 1952-22, we have an incoming voicemail from a different phone number, which they left a voicemail, it's unknown. In the CAD report at 1952-43, law enforcement rang Liberty's phone, left a voicemail. At 1956 p.m., Ron Logan, cell site or timing advance estimate. We have his location here. Source data radius text from Ron Logan's phone. It was an incoming text message that he received with his Wi-Fi location center point. And the radius estimate is approximately 3 to 5,400 yards. The Ron Logan search warrant narrowed this down to approximately 466 yards from 5858 West 300 North. 5858 West 300 North is Ron Logan's address. Let me see if I can copy that. So I'm going to copy that GPS and I'm going to see if it lets me put it in. Sometimes it will from a PDF like that, and sometimes it won't. We're going to see where that takes us.
What sorry, I didn't know my microphone was on. Sorry. What time was the fireman seen Pat Brown seen on the cemetery trail cam or just at the cemetery? And
So it's not going to take
How
me
close
anywhere.
to the time that Ron Logan texted was that?
So, okay, sorry, say that again.
No, it's good. I kind of like paused in between. What time was the fireman's Pat Brown seen on the trail cam? I guess we don't know the trail cam, but what time was he at the cemetery, and how close to that time did Ron send out text?
Hey, Veronica. Pat Brown, I don't believe Pat Brown was a fireman. I'd have to go back and look. You're talking about when he received the
was it
phone
Pat
call
Clausen?
about it might have been Clausen
One
who
of
was
the
sitting on
Pats.
the
I know it was
trail.
one of the Pats. I just know the guy who was on the trail cam. Oh yeah, okay, it was Clausen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Clausen. And that was I want to say that was now the conundrum with that is I want to say, and somebody in chat, because this case is an information highway. I want to say that was around 2 o'clock in the morning that he was seen on the trail cam.
I thought we didn't get a time for that. That's interesting.
No, we had a time. Oh, it was around the 10 p.m. the 10 p.m. hour. Okay, so it was around 10 p.m.
And what time was Ron Logan sent in that text? Exactly.
I want to say it was around 10 p.m.
Oh.
And then at 2 something a.m. is when the horrific screams were heard. And they were called into 911, and 911 said they were too busy.
That makes sense. Not really, but okay.
So let me go back to the PDF because we got to get through.
That's some doo-doo.
Yeah, and it's already 4 o'clock. We've been on here for 3 hours. I don't think we're going to get through the 4:33 a.m. shit. Quester.
Is this like the 5th stream?
The third. This is the third. So, Quester, are you okay with carrying it over?
Yeah. I think there'll be some very upset viewers, but
because we still have 1, 2, 3,
got a lot to go.
4. We still have 4 more pages to go, and we are still in the conundrum of the AT&T pings hitting near Patrick Westfall's house. So with that being said, and we've shown you on Google Earth where it wasn't exactly at Patrick Westfall's location. It was like 2 doors down, but we're still dealing with the whole radius error. But coming up, and I will give this to you guys in chat because we're going to hop off here. And I don't know, maybe I'll get with you tonight. Well, not that you have a whole night left, Quester, because you are and guys, this is why we do the vault on Mondays, because Monday afternoons, because Quester he's a completely different time zone. He's in the UK, we're in the States. So
I would have had no idea. The accent. Wow.
So Michael Osbrook says, also, by the way, it looks like the CAD reports have successful tower pings of the phone all the way until 5:21 a.m. on 2/14. They do. When the phone's supposedly offline, not connected to a network, and we are still at 4% battery. But okay, guys, here's your homework. We're going to end here. Now I am off tomorrow, so Quester, I'll get with you. Maybe if you're bold, if I don't know what your plans are tomorrow, you can let me know later. If we want to resume the rest of this tomorrow, I'm off tomorrow. So I have all day.
Bugs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it out loud, but check the chat if you guys aren't looking at the chat. Shabugs just
what'd she say?
made a funny. She made a funny about Keith's sister, who just had a child. Congratulations, Keith!
Congratulations. Oh, the babies. I love the babies. So
I can't believe
Keith
that's
says,
where she went. I'm sorry. I just speak.
okay, so here's one for you, Fungi. Keith says, can we get a demonstration on air temp versus ground temp? Or maybe if phone 6 had a rural camera or an urban camera? Curious.
I will write that down and I will see what I can do. Yeah, you can email me great GR8. So, oh wait, I can actually type the thing. So here's my.
Just put it in the chat.
That's why I just realized I can do that because I've got a wrench. Fuck yeah! All right. Anyways, you're good.
Okay, who just said that? Who just said the baby was 10 pounds, 10 pounds, 5 ounces?
That baby's gonna be
Wow.
so big. NBA
Holy.
contract right now.
Carol says it's 9:01 p.m. in the UK. Ah,
My crotch hurt when I read that comment. Who dis? Nice.
so well, I'll let you guys know if we're going to resume, extend this to tomorrow. So Michael Osberg, says it was not cold and the phone was not on the ground. It was on top of Livy's shoe and under Abby's leg. So
I have so many questions about that still.
yep. Shabugs. Stop. Kayla says I want a 24/7 channel. I wish I could. Lord, I wish I could. Trust me, I hate getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and going to my big girl job. It drives me crazy. Because all day long,
What are you implying?
yeah, I want to sit here all day and work on this kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with this. And if we come back tomorrow, just look at it like this. You guys have a 24-hour homework assignment. Just in case I call upon you in the chat to have an answer. So coming up in the phone data PDF, we are going to see an automated response from 911 to Libby's phone. Okay. When you research the Indiana has a very advanced 911 automation system. It's called Text to 911. And it was mainly designed for disabled, mainly the hearing impaired, to instead of being able to dial 911 and communicate, they can text, which when you text, you are entering the automated system, which that text messages then enters a dispatcher's queue on their trunk system, CAD system in the radio room and opens the doorway for them to respond. Now, my understanding is this is an inbound texting automation system that has to be originated from the handset of a cell phone. So we will see there's an automated response. So at 4:34 a.m., there's an influx of activity that floods into the phone. SMN messages, different things are going on. One of them being an automated response from 911, followed up by a dispatcher sending a message saying, "Is this Liberty's phone?" It is my understanding that yes, a 911 dispatcher could, in a missing person situation such as this, reach out to a missing person cell phone, but that would be through the radio room landline. It would not be through the automated system. The automation system does not proactively allow a dispatcher through that system to communicate with a cell phone. the automated system only generates a response if 911 is texted from the handset of the phone. So what it appears to be, along with a lot of other information that's missing during those hours that the phone is offline, but still able to generate pings, it is very possible that it could have been early on or after the audio input cord is removed from the phone, that someone texted 911 from this phone, and it generated an automatic response from 911. I have yet to find a way or a pathway that shows that that didn't happen, that this was merely 911 reaching out to Libby through the automated system. That does not seem to be plausible. Let me make this clear. Not that a 911 dispatcher couldn't use her handset at her station and dial Liberty's phone and call it or text from or text from her station, but it wouldn't have been through the pathway of the automated system, if that makes sense. So the 911 system typically it's inbound only for the automated system. And if you look at the automated responses, they're seconds apart. So it's automated, which tells me that there's a good possibility that 911 was texted from the phone. And when the automated response came back, they got no response. And because the 911 was texted and the automated response got no text, a dispatcher then texted Libby's phone and said, "Is this Libby German's phone?" So your homework is to find out, am I wrong? Or am I on the right path? Because nothing that I have found tells me that the automated system would be utilized as an outbound texting source from a 911 dispatcher. It has to be inbound for the automated service to be activated, if that makes sense. So we will leave it there. Quester, Great Lakes, love you both. Message me. I'm going to go cook dinner. Message me and let me know what the game plan is for tomorrow. I'm off. My house is clean. I got all day. And
Dirt was not embedded into the fabric of those shoes. Thank you. Drop mic. End of story.
Yes. And let me just say this before we go. Well, Quester, before we go, do you have something to say?
Probably loads, but we'll save it for tomorrow.
Okay. Shaboogies, we need to get together because we have a shit ton of follow-up to do on Patrick Westfall, by the way. And I do have some lives coming up in regards to some information regarding Keegan Klein and Cryptex. If you're interested, let me know. I know that you're a big dog on KK. And 3, I have some information on Kat Richardson. I'm waiting. Kat Richardson was the young lady who was with Miss Miller. Those two girls are the 2 who were on the bridge or out there on the trails who reportedly heard the horrific screams at around 2 a.m. in the morning. I do have some follow-up about Kat Richardson, who was murdered by Jerome Weiss. And I've been in communication with her sister as to what that could possibly mean and how it relates to this case or that incident of hearing the screams. So the one thing that I wanted to say before I go is, if I come across Kurt or Brunt about certain things, it's just because I'm passionate about this case. For example, Amy with Daisy Axe, I don't mean to be short with you. I understand that, you know, you're building your channel and you're new on the scene. And the information that we have here has been perplexing for years. And once upon a time, when I started my channel, I kind of encountered the same, you know, pushback. I'm just going to say my advice to you is take it slow, take it all in, and don't be so definitive in your fact-finding missions, because as you can see, on a dime, this case changes direction. And when the information, the truth comes out, we all have whiplash once again for the umpteenth millionth time. And we are all supposed to be on the same side of the fence here. We are all working to make sure that the right person is behind bars. There are ample amount of things in this case that we can question and we can debate. We don't have to do it in a sense that we attack each other. And I'm guilty of that sometimes. And if I come across that way, I apologize. It's just because the hours invested, we take it to heart, and we get very passionate about this because it's life or death for a man. And it's justice for two little girls who have been in the spotlight for years that I feel we have not gotten justice for. So we don't need any more division in this case. We all need to stick together. And I haven't.
You know what? I just want to say I really appreciate whenever anyone comes up with like a new theory or is able to push back on Amy's thing, because iron sharpens iron, and I know Amy also, you know, agrees with that too, you know. But I can tell you from all my private conversations with Amy is she cares about this so much, and like she's not ever meaning to, like, you know, be negative or anything. Like, the main thing is just we all have the same goal. We're just gonna kind of go little different roads, but we're all gonna get there at the same place. And I think that, you know, it's just, I really love you all. I just want to say that I really, really appreciate the fact that all of you have taken so much time invested into this.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And go ahead.
Sorry. If
No,
you can prove anything we said wrong, brilliant, do it, because it helps us get closer to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here to try and make ourselves look good. We're here to find the truth. And in this case, especially, finding that is best of luck, mate. Yeah. So we should all stick together. And if we see one of us has got something wrong, nicely tell them and show them, prove it, and off we go.
Yeah,
that's the big thing. Show your work. That's the biggest thing, because that, like, we go into things wanting to be proven wrong, not trying to prove ourselves right. And that, at least that's my motto. And really, really appreciate whenever someone actually can do that, because it's amazing.
Right. And Michael Osberg says, I don't usually apologize. When hard data contradicts an elaborately constructed theory, continuing with the theory is just distracting. I agree. And I know that we have tried our very best. We have updated timelines. We have adjusted timelines as the information has came out. We've said, okay, we have to go back and we have to reroute because now we know this. Just like if you notice at the very beginning of this live, I stated that now that we have the Cecil deposition, we went back and made some adjustments. So the PDF that we put out last week has now been updated, so disregard it. We've incorporated some of the things that Cecil included in his deposition here. And Veronica, you made a great statement she said, it's so difficult to pay attention to info when someone is also snarky, petty, joining in on hate bashing and doxing. Exactly. We don't need that in this case. We're all here. ACV, same thing. Well said. No more division is needed. Justice is everyone's goal here. Exactly. And, we're all going to be united as a front if this case gets a new trial. And that's the goal. So how we get there might all be coming in different avenues, but we're all going to end up at the same location. So let's just keep doing what we're doing, get rid of the animosity in between people. I don't like it. That's why you don't usually see me anywhere but here. I jumped on Criminalities Live the other night for the first time in forever, just because I like to stay on my path and do the work that we're doing here. And I haven't changed my mind about doing the Delphi Marathon. We are kind of at a standstill, and information is slowly trickling out. And I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to participate when we do it. So I'm still working on developing that whole staging of a whole marathon, which I think will be very informative. I've got my emails out to certain experts. I'm hoping to pull in some people that we've never heard from before on the case to get their perspective, which I think is much needed, since I kind of feel like we're kind of living in a vacuum right now. That's not a bad thing. You really can't have an opinion on this case unless you've been up close and personal to it for such a long time. But I want to thank you all for being here. Everybody, please be patient with All Eyes. I know that she is right now tracking down these docs that were just released. I can't wait to see what we've gotten our hands on and what she gets posted.
It. I shared it.
Okay. Will you email it to me?
No. Yeah, no, I will.
So love you guys. Thank you. And hopefully we will make it. Would love to get Dr. Silkman on again if possible. ACV, I am trying. I just reached out to him today. Dr. Silkman has been having some health issues. He's been in and out of the hospital. And as you all know, he's from Australia. And I did approach him about taking on an episode in the marathon. He's interested, but at the moment he was dealing with some health issues, and I'm hoping that he recoups, because he's definitely an asset that we need. So absolutely, he's one of my number ones that I want to have on when we do the marathon. So I will do my best to get him back for everybody. You're welcome, you guys. Thank you, Quester. Thank you, Great Lakes Fungi, and I will see you guys all tomorrow, hopefully. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and share, please. Love you, Julie. Love you to death, girl.
Yeah, Julie.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Look at us.
What about us?